Hi Cancer, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your January 2024 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who like, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, the Celtic cross spread as always, and I also pulled the Four Agreements and Wisdom of the Oracle card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off our own little astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have 5 and 5th house energy for you guys is Scorpio. So, astrologically speaking, there's not really going to be any energy in Scorpio when we're physically in January, but we do still have some energy right now at the time I'm recording this in that sign. But yeah, 5th house for you is romance, creativity, children. Okay, we have Capricorn, and that's your opposite sign of relationships, partnerships, and contracts. And of course, we're about to start Capricorn season, and for the first few weeks of January, we'll be in Capricorn season as well, so it makes sense to see that come up too. And lastly, we have the North Node. So the North Node is actually in Aries, which is your 10th house of career and social status. So yeah, could be a focus on that as well. But we'll keep those in mind as we go through the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Nine of Swords, and challenging that, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this could be going a couple different ways. This is Gemini energy and Virgo energy, by the way. Could be saying that for some of you might actually be stressed out around a money situation. You know, maybe there was supposed to be money coming your way, but it hasn't arrived at the pace that you were expecting it to. That's certainly one way it could be playing out. But if not that, it could also just be saying that for some of you, there might be some stress around an offer you might need to communicate to someone. So whether it's you need them to chip in more, right? So let's say it's within your work environment. You say, hey, I'm overwhelmed here at these 9 projects. I need someone to help me pick up the slack. Or within your household, right? Hey, I need you guys to chip in more, preparing for the holidays, whatever the case may be, right? Looks like there's a little bit of stress around that. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Empress. So yeah, this is usually a pretty passive energy, but at the same time, a lot of times that can lead to things coming this person's way, right? But I feel like this could just be pointing to maybe that's the energy that you were in for a while. And of course, with all things, the best way to go about it is to have somewhat of a balance, right? So yeah, by all means, it's good to be in this energy sometimes with receptivity, right? Being more passive around things, but then there are also times when you might have to be more active. So for some of you, you might feel like there's an imbalance there. All right, in the past position, we have the Two of Cups. So yeah, you might feel like in the past there was a meeting of minds, right? So whether it's a romantic connection where you feel like you guys were on the same page, where now that might be out of balance, right? Or within that same realm, right? Someone in your household, they might have contributed equally before. Now they might feel like they're going to leave all the work up to Cancer, right? Whatever the case may be, looks like you could just be looking back on a past situation where there was balance and stability. All right, in the present position, we have the King of Wands. So if this represents the energy to shift from the Empress to the King of Wands is an improvement if you need to get things done, right? Because this is still a fixed energy, so it's not constantly going to be taking action all the time, but it knows when to act, right, and when to fall back. So that could be an energy you guys are embracing this month. This is Leo energy, and there will be a full moon in Leo toward the end of the month. So if this is around finances, this could be a good energy for you guys to tap into. All right, in the near future position, we have the Eight of Wands. So yeah, this represents a lot of movement, usually a lot of communication, just a lot of things. I mean, in almost every culture, right, around the time I'm recording this, we're about to kick into all kinds of holidays, right? So this tends to be the energy that we tend to experience around this time of year anyway, and even going into January, right, when people set new goals for what they want to accomplish in the new year, things along those lines. But looks like a lot of movement here. So now for some of you, that could mean that you do get the resources that you need, right, to actually help you get things done. So moving from the swords energy, which is thinking about things, to actually taking action, right? So maybe you do have communications with someone. Like I said, if it was a workplace thing, like, hey, I have a lot of things I have to get done here, I need some help, right? Or like I said, within the household, whatever the case may be. Looks like there's going to be some movement there. All right, in the position of your influence in a situation, we have the Magician. So yeah, definitely looks like a positive energy here, which is to say that you really do have the power to alter how things are moving within the situation. So like I said, if you do feel like things have been stuck for a while, right? This is saying that you have the tools at your disposal to actually get that forward movement. So for example, like we said, if it is that, hey, this is too much for me to take on by myself, right? Reaching out to someone that you can trust and say, hey, could you guys help me out with this, right? And I feel like this is also saying that if that's something you have a little bit of anxiety around, it looks like, people do realize what you've done for them in the past, right? So it won't be like you're imposing on anyone. I feel like they do understand that, okay, yeah, Cancer definitely is the type to take things on and be very helpful. So if they say to us, hey, we need some help around here, I feel like you would get a positive response. All right, in the environment position, we have the Five of Cups. So yeah, for some of you, you could just be looking back on maybe some connections that you've lost over time, right? So maybe because you have been so wrapped up in one thing and possibly just feeling a little bit isolated around that, you might feel like there's been some connections that you've lost over time, right? Or you might feel like that you can't depend on people. But again, like I said, if that's the case, in the reality, it looks like you could. So just keep that in mind. So it might just be one of those things where you might have a little bit more of a fear that that's the case versus the actual way it would play out. But and if this is someone in your environment, they could be looking back on past failures as well. So if you're looking at someone who maybe, for example, if they normally would be contributing and you're wondering why are they not contributing the way they normally would, it could just be saying that they're processing their own disappointments at this time. Okay, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Six of Wands. So this is Leo energy here, usually an energy of victory, recognition, right? So for some of you, for example, if you feel like what you already are doing is being underappreciated, right? Like, for example, I gave the example of, let's say, if this is around actual finances, let's say in a workplace or something like that, where it was due to you, but it isn't there yet. So you might feel like, oh, well, is it ever going to? Or am I being appreciated for what I contribute? I think this is saying if that's the case, you are, right? But it might take until we're a little bit later into January for you to actually see tangible proof of that. Okay, in the outcome position, we have the Two of Swords. So yeah, for some of you, it looks like you might ultimately decide that you aren't ready to speak up about what you need help with, right? So something to keep in mind there. Like I said, if this is just around nervousness, right? Feeling like, oh, I don't know if I'll be received well if I ask for help, things along those lines. I mean, if you're currently feeling that way, that would make a little bit of sense as far as we have that Mercury retrograde going on in your opposite sign. Then it's going to move into Sagittarius, which is your house of work, daily routines, right? So if that trickles down from, let's say, your relationships at home to your actual work life, right? Then you're like, oh, I don't know, I might not come across the way I'd hoped to there, right? It could just be one of those things. If that's the case, those are very temporary things. And then we also have the fact that Jupiter has been retrograde for quite some time in your 11th house of friends and groups. And that's actually going to start forward movement at the very end of December and all through January. So that could help bring connections your way too. That could be helpful to you. All right. And bottom of the deck, we have the High Priestess. So yeah, I feel like this is saying, the High Priestess is a very intuitive energy, and it's one of your superpowers, right? Like you guys have, we even see in the artwork there. Well, I don't know why I won't focus, but here we go. We even see the moon symbol, which is what you guys are ruled by. And there will be a full moon. At the time of recording this, we haven't had it yet. So before we physically get into January, there's going to be a full moon in your sign too. So that could also help clear things up for you guys if you are feeling like you're just in a bit of a fog, right? Not sure where you stand in situations. That could really kick off that process. So for some of you, when we're physically in January, you're already going to start to feel that shift due to that full moon passing through. But for you, like I said, by the time, especially if this is a financially related thing, by the time we have the full moon in Leo around the end of January, you'll feel like things are improved. Moving on to your 4 agreements card, we have don't make assumptions, and it says discern the truth. Okay, it says the problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, then we react by sending emotional poison with our word. This creates a whole big drama for nothing. So yeah, I mean, that sounds a little bit harsh, right? But I will say this is a good reminder, like we said, that there is the Mercury retrograde energy in your opposite sign, and it could cross into your work environment as well. So just something to be mindful of there. But I feel like more than anything in this context, though, given what we were talking about with your spread, I feel like the assumption isn't really necessarily that harsh. It's just more if you might assume, like I said, that, oh, you think that people wouldn't have your back if you do need help with something, right? Like, oh, I can't really reach out to them and ask them to help. They won't come through. I feel like this is saying you would be surprised that they would actually be able to step in and help. All right, from the Wisdom Oracle, we have a Wake Up. There's the artwork, and the number is 34. Okay, essential meanings. It says receiving help, delegating authority, interdependence. The Oracle's message. You've come to a point where going it alone is no longer optimal for you. Life has a way of presenting you with the perfect people to align with who can help give you a leg up during this next phase of your journey. Help comes to you in all the areas of your life where you need a boost. The trick is to accept that aid so freely given. When you embrace interdependence, allowing teamwork and independence to commingle, miracles happen. Now is such a time. So yeah, reading that message again takes me back to what I was saying as far as Jupiter will be moving direct through your 11th house, so that could definitely help as far as that goes. The relationship message says relationships that are healthy thrive on interdependence. It's important to recognize that you need others as much as they need you. You must allow people to support you just as you were there for them. This is a time to be vulnerable, to speak up about your needs, and to ask for them to be fulfilled. Trust, you will be met with kindness and love. Don't expect others to read your mind, though. Ask and it is given. So yeah, again, like I said, I could definitely see where that aligns with what we were talking about earlier, especially that Nine of Swords energy, right? And for whatever reason, you might feel like if you were to come forward and say you need help, that it wouldn't be received well. But I feel like this is saying it would. Okay, the prosperity message says now is the perfect time to seek advice from a mentor or business advisor who has been where you want to go to help you get there too. If you do, you will receive very good counsel that will aid in your prosperity. It may also be the case that your endeavors have grown and you are in a position where you just can't do it all yourself anymore. Time to bring on those who can give you a leg up. Trusted help is available and it will indeed appear. Delegate authority to others so you can take steps toward your big dream. The perfect people will arrive at the perfect time so long as you step forward with just a mustard seed of faith. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, because that makes me think of the Nine of Swords. Like, let's say that is something involving your work, right? We're like, okay, I'm overwhelmed. And then Knight of Pentacles in that regard could just be saying that, well, you might actually have to consider potentially hiring someone, right? Like, okay, I need someone that could actually help out here. And maybe you had someone like that in the past, but for whatever reason, there could have been a parting of the ways there. It could just be saying that you might have to seek someone else out to fill in that spot. So, hope it resonated for you guys. We'll wrap up there. Hope you guys have a good holiday season and New Year. And I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.